All right, guys. So as the season's about to kick off, I thought this would be, something maybe helpful for younger guys, maybe even some older guys who have never really given it much thought. But season's about to kick off. Everybody wants to be on the field, correct? I don't think I'd be wrong in saying that everyone wants to find themselves in the starting 11. I think everybody wants to find themselves as a first 5-6 guy on the team sheet, right? You want to be in the starting 11, but let's be realistic. You probably don't want to be the name that's kind of in and out consistently throughout the year. You want to be a guy that's a staple. An important way to figure that out and how to stay consistent throughout a season, I think, is doing some self-reflection. So, before the year kicks off, grab a notebook, grab a pen, I'm old school, I like to do it that way. Grab your laptop, grab your phone, pull out your notes, whatever it is. And be completely honest with yourself. If you don't think you're someone that's good at this and being honest with yourself, grab someone you really trust from your team, a friend, whatever, that you can be open and honest about things and they can do it with you. Sometimes it's a lot easier to have somebody tell you, what your strengths and your weaknesses are. So that's the intention, right? Sit down, make a list of what your best qualities as a player are and the things that you need to work on the most. And those are the things you should focus on. Now, in my opinion, you should focus more on the strengths than the weaknesses, but the weaknesses are obviously important to make sure that they're at an okay level. So that's, if I can't use my left foot at all, I got to get to a place where my left foot isn't just a kickstand. All right. But more importantly, figure out what your best skill set is. So when I played, I felt like service was my number one thing. So towards the end of my career, I finally had that epiphany, like, oh, this is what I do well. I need to do it really, really well to be able to affect games, to help my team, to be a staple of a team. And that's what I was able to do to stay on the field and be like a first name thrown down on a team sheet. So I got advice when I was young that this was important, right? To hone in on your best skill set, because that's what gets you into a group. That's what affects games. That's what affects a team. If you've been brought into a club, it's most likely because of those attributes. I don't think somebody was looking at you and going like, this guy has so much to work on. I don't know that I see anything. He's just bang average. It's not normally the case. Normally they see something from you. So that's if you're really good at striking long balls off a half turn, whatever it is. If you're an excellent dribbler, you're an excellent 1v1 defender. Like, figure out what that thing is that makes you different from everybody else and make sure that's at the very highest level it can be. That's what's going to make you stand out to a coaching staff. So sit down, one side strengths, one side weaknesses. How are we going to improve on the weaknesses and get them to a level that's manageable, that it doesn't affect your game. It's not a hole in your game. It's not something that's dangerous to the team, right? But more importantly, how are we going to spend time making sure that thing that we're good at is up here consistently, and we can consistently do it and affect games and give the team something different. Don't get stuck in the thought process that I'm going to take this weakness here and I'm going to turn that into the best part of my game. I don't think that's going to happen. If it does, fantastic. That's amazing. You're probably a younger guy if you're able to manage to do something like that. If you're a guy that can't serve a ball with your weak foot at all, I don't see you getting to a point where your weak foot service is the best part of your game. That's all I'm trying to say with this. If you have something to work on, you need to work on it. It needs to be at a base level. But take that thing that is your strongest attribute and hone in on it. The other thing is, if you're a guy that's not under contract right now and you're going on trials, this is massively important to remember as well, because when you go in on a trial, if you're leaving the trial going, well, I feel like I was as good as this guy, you're normally not going to get a call back. I don't think that's the right thought process to leave a trial at, right? You want to go in and you want to affect things. Players who are already under contract, they're already under contract. If I'm being completely honest with you, I don't think this should happen, but I know it does. Guys take days off of training. They phone it in, whatever it is. If you're comparing yourself with those guys and you think, I was almost as good as this guy, or I was just about as good as this guy, you're not getting a call back. You need to go in, and somebody, like I said, needs to see something different from you. Are you a guy that they could at least bring off the bench as a spark because you have, I don't know, I've talked about this with plenty of guys. There's tons of fast players out there. But are you a player that knows how to get yourself in situations in games to show off that pace? Are you a guy that has really good service in training and you have no idea how to get in situations to serve balls in games? These are things you need to think about. Okay, what are my strengths, and then how do I utilize those things in games? Because that's what's keeping guys on the field. Am I an excellent finisher in training, but I just am not finding the right situations to finish balls in games? Figure out, watch film, figure out how you can get yourself in better positions to be getting more chances to score goals. You need to be able to be honest with yourself and find ways to affect games. That's the only thing that's going to get you on the field. So that's my advice for today. Sit down, be honest with yourself. Strengths, weaknesses, work on your strengths. Get them to a level that it's consistent no matter what. You can have an off game and it's still decent. So that's your dribbler. I've played with guys that are excellent dribblers. Even on their worst day, they're still able to beat guys 1v1 and create, numbers up situations on multiple occasions. There's days where they're fantastic at it, and there's days that they're just good at it. But that's where you need to be. You need to be at a level that you're good at it on your bad days, and you're real great at it on your best days. So that's my advice for the kickoff of the season. And good luck with the year. That's all.